parks are going to be closed in Columbia and actually here in Charlotte as well. But Charlie doesn't seem to understand this. Dogs don't get the whole social distancing thing. And the weather certainly isn't helping, as today will be almost perfect. While it seems as though the world has reached a virtual standstill, some people are still trying to change the home they have to stay in. Joan Good is a licensed broker in North and South Carolina for Dickens Mitchener Residential Real Estate, where she has worked for 15 years. And now she has to help people find their dream home without allowing them to step foot in it.
Well, it certainly is different, and thank heavens for technology. We are touring homes virtually.
And this gives a whole new meaning to showing someone a house. Let's say I'm a real estate agent, I would now have to walk through every room of the house and show you the features via FaceTime. And while Joan believes that these virtual tours are not as impactful as seeing a house with your own eyes, she does not anticipate any problems with selling her listings.
Low interest rates are driving that, and a shortage of inventory is also driving that, because if you have to move, you're going to pick from what's out there.
Dickens Mitchener and other real estate agencies alike expect a heavy backlog of buyers and sellers once the ordinance is lifted. And those waiting for their dream home can only dream while staying at home. Reporting in Charlotte, North Carolina for Carolina News, I'm Jack Taylor. Christ Lutheran Church in Charlotte, North Carolina is the largest Lutheran church on the East Coast. And on any given Sunday, you can hear the gospel all around. But since the stay-at-home ordinance was issued, all that can be heard by passing cars is silence. Almost exactly a year ago, over 1,000 gathered at Christ Lutheran Church to celebrate Palm Sunday. And today, as Holy Week begins, Christ Lutheran Church finds itself empty due to the coronavirus. And churches across the country are learning how to worship as a community while staying apart.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird.
Scott Suskovic has been the senior pastor at Christ Lutheran Church for 22 years and now has to figure out how to deliver 4 of his biggest sermons to an invisible audience.
We'll still have all of those worship services, but they'll be online and they'll be different.
And the show will go on. As Pastor Suskovic explained, the world may have canceled Easter, but God didn't get the memo. Today they began their new worship style, with live pastors carrying on as normal, and the congregation being able to watch via a live stream, and with pre-recorded music being thrown in.
It's already weird preaching to an empty sanctuary. It's going to be even more weird standing there and then pausing while the recorded music is being played.
Pastor Suskovic is thankful that his staff was well equipped to handle this transition. Unfortunately, not all churches have been able to follow suit. My father is the director of community outreach for Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, and with his ties to the people cut off by the coronavirus, he finds his job in jeopardy.
I had a full-time job at Good Shepherd, and due to this, I'm now working 1 day a week, still doing community engagement through Facebook Live events. I work with the elementary school we're doing food drives for, so I'm still doing something, but not on the level that I was.
While everything is up in the air, the mission and message for churches both large and small is clear.
We're putting stuff out there every single day. Just check in with people and make sure they're doing good and give them some hope in a time when they need it.
The church has never been about the building or about the name or about the location. The church has always been the people.
And even though people cannot worship face-to-face, that Sunday service is no more than a click away. For Carolina News in Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm Jack Taylor. And while everything is still up in the air as to when the sports world will return to normal, some leagues are still trying to carry on. Over the weekend, the WNBA held a virtual 3-round draft that started with 3 very special selections. Before Oregon star Sabrina Ionescu was selected first overall, the WNBA announced its own draft picks, selecting Gigi Bryant, Alyssa Altobelli, and Peyton Chester to the WNBA. The 3 girls all had aspirations of one day making it into the WNBA, and the league felt it was more than necessary to honor these girls who lost their lives in a tragic helicopter accident on January 26th. As the draft continued, 3 former Gamecocks made their way into the WNBA, as Kiki Herbert Harrigan and Taisha Harris were selected back-to-back early in the first round. Kiki Herbert Harrigan was selected 6th overall to the Minnesota Lynx, and Taisha Harris was drafted by the Dallas Wings, where she will join her former teammates Kayla Davis and Alicia Gray. Former Gamecock transfer Taya Cooper was drafted in the 2nd round by the Phoenix Mercury, bringing the total up to 7 former Gamecocks currently in the WNBA. And while the WNBA completed its draft, the NFL is looking ahead to its virtual draft starting this Thursday. And multiple former Gamecocks are looking to find their way into the NFL, regardless of not getting to go through the normal draft procedure. Javon Kinlaw was able to make a case for himself during the Senior Bowl, and most draft analysts have him going off the board in the first round. But some former Gamecocks are in the same boat as a lot of NFL hopefuls across the country, who are relying on the Combine and Pro Days to show their potential. Brian Edwards, who is recovering from fracturing his fifth metatarsal, along with his teammates DJ Wanham, Joseph Charlton, and Rico Dowdle, are hoping to hear their name called this weekend, regardless of the fact that it might be announced from Roger Goodell's basement. And we'll have more for you on the NFL Draft coming up later this week. Hello and welcome to the Carolina News Fastcast. I'm Jack Taylor, coming to you from my home in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, due to the coronavirus, our newsroom is spread across the country, but we are still working every day to bring you the top stories. As stimulus checks begin to hit bank accounts, today marks when around 80 million Americans expect to get paid through direct deposit. This comes as cases of COVID-19 continue to rise every day. As of this morning, there are 3,553 infected with the coronavirus and 97 deaths in South Carolina. Across the nation, there are now over 600,000 confirmed cases and more than 26,000 deaths. However, there have been almost 49,000 recoveries according to Johns Hopkins University. President Trump announced a halt in funding to the World Health Organization yesterday. This comes pending a review of its response to the coronavirus. But the HWO says it is coordinating with scientists, doctors, funders, and manufacturers to help speed up the availability of a vaccine. And as states across the country are dealing with the coronavirus in different ways, Governor Henry McMaster is responding to the ongoing crisis by extending the state of emergency in South Carolina another 15 days. Darlington County deputies are looking for missing 11-year-old boy Levi Henry. Officers say Henry was last seen at his home on Thorngate Circle early yesterday morning. He was wearing a white shirt, red shorts, black flip-flops, and a black backpack. Henry is 5'5" and 183 pounds with a scar on each knee. If you have any information, call the Darlington County Sheriff's investigators or contact Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC. A surge of deadly storms tore through the state of South Carolina early Monday morning. And as tornadoes touched down across the state and the country, areas across South Carolina were left ravaged by the storm, and at least 9 people lost their lives. With the school year canceled for colleges all over the nation, it's becoming much harder for these campuses to feel like home for the students that are already enrolled, as well as those who are trying to plan the next 4 years of their lives. Nick Walter is thankful that he's already solidified those plans, but finding a college to call home proved difficult during quarantine.
And I felt like I never got to experience that, almost like that peace or like that security and knowing that's where I wanted to go to college. I'm not saying I haven't found it now. However, I just had to come about that peace a lot differently than I think most people usually do because of quarantine.
And despite never being able to step foot on campus, Walter chose to attend the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, a decision he came to with the help of the school's virtual tour.
I highly recommend it. It was really informative for me, and it helped me kind of get a feel for the campus and understand what it would look like and what I'd be expecting.
UNCW has a virtual tour of the campus that you can control yourself. And you can choose which buildings you want to go to, where you can get facts information from a virtual tour guide. And this is common among campuses across the country and the Carolinas as well. Jack Council is a senior at Clemson University and a tour guide as well, who has had to quickly transition to giving campus tours through Zoom. And even though Council was unfamiliar with the software before, Zoom has quickly become the only way he can do his job.
We'll have anywhere from 20 to 30, 35 people in these sessions at a time. So we've gotten people to utilize the chat function to ask questions, and then we'll address them either in the middle of the slide we're on, at the end of the slide.
While Clemson is a subject Council will always want to talk about, he is certain that his position is vital for incoming students now more than ever.
Even if they don't end up coming to Clemson, our whole job as tour guides is to just present our school, to present Clemson, and show why we love it so much and why it's home for us.
Home. That's what college becomes for its students. The home Nick is glad he found, the home Jack wants to help others find, and the home we all wish we could return to. For one last time for Carolina News, I'm Jack Taylor.